Hey guys, what's going on? This is another Outdoorsman 1 video. Today is part 2 of an onboard air system on my 2014 Tacoma. Part 1 you saw, took the tire off, mounted it on the roof, and also with the hose clamps mounted the air tank where I wanted it. So again, this is going to be very dependent on you. Part 2 here, we're going to be plumbing all the air lines and getting everything situated. My compressor was supposed to show up today, but alas it did not. It will be showing up tomorrow. So because of that, there's going to be a part 3. So part 2, just going to be plumbing the airlines to the places where I desire them. Again, this is very dependent on you. Some people plumb airlines to all 4 corners of their vehicle so that they can, you know, air up and air down like that. I don't like that. I'm fine with having a cable stretch the front and the back. So that's my need, different than yours. So this is going to be part 2. Stay tuned, and if you're just wanting to see me get into the nitty-gritty and skip all of the what you're going to need, here is going to be the time that you should click on to go to that time. Before you do any of this, guys, before you start on part 1, before you start on part 2 or part 3, wash your truck. I suggest you go to a yard sale and get some sort of ramp so you can get up underneath your truck. You're gonna see me underneath this truck, and I'm gonna have stuff falling on me constantly, so mud and whatnot. So make sure you wash the underside of your truck off. Ryobi has a really great little thing for salt underneath, where you just connect your hose and run underneath. Super cool. I'm gonna buy one actually right now because I need to go get a couple more parts. I suggest you washing off the bottom of your truck so that you don't have debris falling on you. And if you're not blessed with having to wear glasses like myself, safety glasses are never going to be something bad, because you're going to have a lot of metal shards falling on you as well as dirt. So keep yourself safe. So I went on a Home Depot run, and here are the things I got. I got a 50-foot heavy-duty hose with a nylon kind of cover for it. And then I got an adapter. This is the 1/2 to 1/4 reducer. I have 2 T's. I have 4 hose repair kits. I have 2 adapters. One of these we will be getting going today. The other one will be for the future. These are the regulators. And then I've got 2 angle irons right here. And these are just from the fencing department. And then I also got one of these Husky cases. Super nice. Alright guys, so if you're like me and you're balling on a budget, you might ask, what all do I need to complete this project? Well, that's neither here nor there. That's kind of up in the air, because every vehicle is going to have a different setup, and you're going to have different bolts than I do. I use these ones, you might use those ones, so you might need different tools. But generally, this is all you are going to need to complete this project. Okay, so for the pieces of angle iron, you are going to need some sort of black paint. I suggest Rust-Oleum. You're going to want that just to make sure that it doesn't rust on you or be shiny and look stupid. Then you're going to need an impact or some sort of a drill, because you're going to be doing a lot of drilling. None of this drilling is going to be in the frame, just mostly plastic pieces or aluminum J-channel. Also, you're going to need some sort of bits. You're going to need an adjustable wrench, obviously, because you're probably going to have different assorted things. I've got another one of these wrenches for the one that I was specifically using the most. And then also, on top of having a wrench, I suggest having some sort of at least one vice grip, locking, whatever you call them, lock, pliers, whatever. Those are going to be crucial, because you're going to need to twist some of the things multiple different directions. So you're going to need this in one hand and this in another hand. 2 of these could work. I suggest 1 and 1, because some of the things aren't actually going to be bolts like the little T's that I was showing you. Okay, so biggest thing I suggest is just going to Home Depot or Lowe's. I like Home Depot, and getting one of these. This is my favorite little kit on top of all of the other crud that I have. And this is $17, and almost everything that I used in this entire video is going to come out of here. I've got 2 different the socket sizes for, you know, 1/4 and 3/8 inch sockets. And then I've got the drill, all the drill bits that I needed. I did need one larger drill bit, so there's that. Again, depending on your application, I use this to bore the holes. All of these are going to serve you well. 17 bucks, very good investment. Some sort of a device to measure with. Nothing's going to be super long that you're measuring unless you're actually going to measure out the amount of feet of the cable, of the air cable that you're going to use. So I just suggest either a ruler or that. Definitely going to need some of this, especially if you're not using the Husky that comes with the Loctite on it. You're going to need some sort of plumber's tape to make your seals good, and then some sort of distraction when you do something wrong and upset yourself. Get yourself a Bluetooth speaker. Biggest thing that's going to be to your advantage is going to Walmart. Home Depot and Lowe's both have their own respective ones where it's like $15. Comes with a really cruddy air line. Don't use this, but all of these fittings are pretty good. It comes with a number of different fittings, a couple of the chucks, a couple of these male to male, all the different couplers that you're going to need, and then also comes with, you know, this tape and some of this different stuff. So I definitely suggest you get one of these. Okay, so I went ahead and took this off just, you know, with a normal adjustable wrench. The reason that I'm not using this, originally I was going to use it because you can see I put that in there, but I've heard that everything starts to leak on it, which, I mean, with pneumatics anything can leak, so it's not just specifically this. But I have heard that this little Schrader on off isn't the best. Also, it doesn't allow for super high flow for air. If you look inside there, that little hole, that's the only thing that air's coming through. Here is where my air is going to come in straight from the compressor, and then here is where my air is going to come out to the two places that I previously mentioned. If you are planning on using your compressor under the engine compartment, make sure that the compressor that you get, whether it's an ARB or whatever, has a changeable air filter, because that's what I've heard. Under the hood, it's still exposed to the elements and you're still gonna get dust and everything in it, just like your engine. You gotta clean that off every once in a while. So I've opted to go in the bed because I've got this cap on there. Obviously, it's a little bit more protected from the elements. So I'm probably gonna end up making a box for it that goes in the back on top of the wheel well, because in Tacomas, wheel wells are flush. After the wheel well goes up, it stays up. So I'm gonna build a box and put it back there. So I've got this air tank mounted. You can see I've got the T and the T here. So this air is going to go straight to right here, where I'm going to put my my air chuck, and the second one is going to go up through the side of the bed up here into one of those auxiliary boxes, and then the third one is going to go that way into the bed, so that I can then run the compressor when it does arrive next week. Since I haven't got the compressor yet, I don't really know where the compressor is going to go. So because of that, I'm probably just gonna put a valve on the, not this valve, but I'm probably just gonna put a little valve on the end of it so that I can bleed air pressure off of it, because I don't need it. Okay, so got my hose marked like right here. I'm gonna give it maybe about an inch more than that, and I'm just gonna give it a really nice clean cut, because you know we're gonna have to fix it now. So there you go. Then where's my camera? There it is. Okay, so you see we got that white kind of plastic PVC hose that's really thick. That's what we're looking for. And then you got that nylon cover on. So these little kits, they come with like these little kits. They come with the piece to connect both ends, and they also have a chuck end like this. So I'm gonna need to cram this guy in there. So go ahead and just slip. I'm actually gonna use two on this because it's gonna be kind of permanent. So good thing it's nice and warm out today, like 70 degrees for the first time this year. Oh, this is kind of soft. So I'm just gonna cram that in as far as I can. that's why making it clean cut's really important, so you can get it all the way down. I'm gonna pull my little nylon sock back up so it covers the whole thing. I'm gonna take these guys, I'm gonna go get my drill and turn this down so that I can get it nice and tight. Right there under 2 feet. So that's what I've got. This is, like I said, coming straight off the tank and going straight back to this little piece. So what I'm gonna do is this guy is gonna go like that, and then this is gonna be my mounting surface. Got that. All right, guys, so sometimes in those hyperlapses, I don't know what you guys actually end up seeing. So I ended up putting this end on and it not end up working because the threads were so long. If you look here, the threads are actually shorter on this Husky bit here. So I ended up using that one. That one was a little bit bigger because it's a 3/8, but this one that's actually the quarter, it's maybe a 1/4 of an inch shorter. And because of that, this sits snug now. I need to repaint this probably once I get it mounted because I scratched all that paint. But now it sits flush and it sits tight. So this is going to be the chuck that's coming off the back, and now this end is going to be the one that goes straight into the compressor. All right, so there it is. The airline is tapped. Probably going to come back later with a grinder and make this as minimal as possible to kind of reduce kind of the footprint here. All right, so now step 2 is going to be putting another bite on this guy and moving on. Okay, so next step on this journey is going to be putting the regulator on here. I'm just gonna kind of mock it up to see what I'm gonna need. Not mounting it right now because I'm still gonna have to get these boxes out of my bed and plumb the line and drill the hole and all that into the box. But this is gonna be the valve, and so the idea is that this guy is gonna go here. This is gonna end up going on the end of my regulator here, kind of like that, so that now, just like a compressor, I can adjust the pressure that's going to be coming out, so that when I plug it into my water port to add air to my water port, I don't blow up the water port, because the water port, I just said that a lot, the water port here can only hold up to 50 psi, so if I run 125 psi into it, I'm probably going to break it. Goal is going to be this right next to here, right? I've got my power inverter. Okay, I'm going to drop this guy. I'm going to have my air tapped just like that. So what I'm going to have to do eventually is put that little, I believe it's a 3/8 question mark, I'm not sure, on an elbow so that I can see what that pressure is reading. You can see I've still got some space under there, about 2 inches. Doesn't look like it because this is slanted, but it's about 1 inch to, actually more than that. Okay, so with that, like that, I'm gonna have it tilted so I'll be able to see that pressure, but it fits perfectly. I'll pull out and show you. This is kind of what I've got mocked up. Not using this here, we're just gonna thread it just like before. And I'm just going to drop one big bolt through there to keep it centered. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to measure how long this guy is. Then I'm going to measure from that hole back, because you can see these holes from underneath. I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So I'm going to measure from the end of the pipe, which everything is going to be shorter, but I do want to add enough room in the back so that that air hose can turn and not kink. So that's definitely going to need to eventually become a right angle off the back there. Using my Sharpie, I got to go back about 4.5 inches from those holes. The whole thing is like 7 inches long, so it should work. And then this hose, if you're using the same hose as me, is super bendable and it's not kinking at all. So shouldn't have to worry about that. Probably not even going to make it an L. in the future unless anything goes wrong. The hole right where that little X is, that is going to be the mounting hole, but back here is where I'm going to have to use like a bore to get a bigger hole for the air to come in. This is what I'm talking about here. Got this 3/4 inch bore here, and we're gonna go to town. Make sure not to breathe that plastic. All right, success. I actually by mistake mounted it on the wrong side, but as you can see, I can see the dial, and I left it a little bit loose so that it can move a little freely, and it's not super tight. I actually did that on purpose. I had a couple washers I was going to put on it, but then I thought, you know, if that line needs to wiggle, I'd like it to be able to. So 3/4 hole in the back, and then just the hole of whatever bolt you're using. I used a washer there to fill the gap. Then I can adjust the pressure for the regulator. Boom, you can see the whole regulator there. And there's the little air chuck. So I'm super happy with that. Don't just wash the outside of your truck before you do this. Wash the underside too. Giving you a little look-see underneath. This is what it looks like. So that was my initial hole. That didn't line up with where I wanted it. So there's that hole. Air hose is coming out. And like I said, I used a little bit extra, so I've just got it sitting in this clamp that was there to hold the spare tire. And now we've got both of those. Now I just need to run one more here for the air in, and we are good to go. Hey guys, so making a hose that goes to my Waterport, or I mean, if you have your own homemade shower pressurized water system, this is going to work the same as long as you're tapped to a Schrader valve. If you used a piece of PVC and you've got that whole PVC pipe setup going on, which is an awesome rig too, I've done that, built those. If anything, those can hold a higher pressure, and you might not have to put a regulator on them because the PVC can hold up to 150 psi usually. So, but it was super easy because if you buy the Central Pneumatics or one of these off-brand super cheap Chinese 5-gallon 7-gallon air tanks, they're going to come with this. The only thing you're going to need is a female air chuck, just that'll go right on. This is designed to go into, if I can find it here, into that hole right there on this manifold that they give you with the air release valve, the pressure gauge, and the Schrader on off. So this is designed to go on there, and on the other end it's just like what you'd use to fill up your car tire or something like that. Just boom. So all you're gonna have to do, use this setup kind of like what I've got going on. Just pop that guy in, assuming you weren't dumb like me. There you go, you pop that guy in, and then now you're just gonna need to take your air, plug it into your shower, and then double that over. I'm not gonna do it one-handed because I don't want to bend that Schrader valve. But boom, now you've got regulated air pressure going straight into your water port. Obviously, all you got to do now is pop your valve, put it in there, get your shower head, and get going. This has been part 2. Took me a couple hours. I was figuring it out kind of as I went. I'll leave a list of everything that I used in the part section below, or in the description below. Hey you, if you made it this far in a video and you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing, but go ahead and click that button right there. I'm waiting. No, I'm not kidding, like I'm serious, I'm still waiting. See ya, I guess.